It's time for box office review once again. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to the latest episode of the KV show, and today we are going to review the box office, the weekend box office. And number one, just like last week, we have The Nun Part 2. It is doing really well at the box office for its budget. It has a budget of 38 million, and so far it has earned $204 million worldwide. That's amazing actually, that's insanely good. From the first to the second weekend, the drop was 55%, but here, it's only 42%. It improved drastically. It's not doing as well as the first Nun film, but still it's doing amazing at the box office. And I think this is due to the fact that this film is an improvement from the first film in terms of quality of the story. Although the reviews are still not that great, it's still better from what I heard. So that's probably the reason why this film is doing still quite well, because the bars have been set low. This film exceeded those expectations for some people, because people were honestly thinking this is gonna suck like the first Nun film, but ended up it was better. Actually, it was an improvement. So at number 2, we have the Expend4bles 4. I have heard nothing but horrible reviews for this film, and the box office says so as well. Nobody was excited to watch this film, and the box office is horrible. I mean, for $100 million budget, it made just $8 million this weekend. On the opening weekend, that's insanely bad. I mean, you have Jason Statham, you have Sylvester Stallone, you have all these big stars, yet you couldn't make so much money. This says a lot about how Hollywood has changed, that people don't care about the stars in the film, unless Tom Cruise, of course. But still, people don't care much about the stars in the film. They care more about whether they get entertainment out of it or not. I think this is how the entertainment industry has changed over time. At number 3, we have A Haunting in Venice. Not a good sign actually, unless it gets lucky in the next few weekends. It's not actually a good sign. It has a low budget of $60 million, which is not that high. But now it has to make $150 million to break even, because it needs to make 2.5 times its budget, right? So $150 million. And currently it's sitting at 71.5. It needs to make more than 2 times more than what it has made so far. And unless it gets lucky at the box office, which I'm pretty sure it won't, this film is not going to do well at the box office. It's going to be another major flop. And let's see how the future of the Hercule Poirot film goes. The Equalizer 3. Okay, the drop this weekend is pretty good. 35% drop. That's the lowest drop we have seen from this film so far. And I think it's due to the fact of low competition. This entire weekend, there's a lot of horror film in theatres, and people who don't want to watch horror films, they will have probably no other choice than to watch Equalizer Part 3. And that's probably the reason why I think this film is doing so well at the box office. People have not much of a choice if they are not fans of horror. So this is the most probable choice for them. That's why this film is doing quite good at the box office right now, and that's what I think the reason is. Actually, it's the best percentage drop of the trilogy if you are looking at the 4th weekend alone. Equalizer Part 1 had a 45% drop, and the Equalizer Part 2 had a 38% drop. Although domestically at this point both films made more than Equalizer Part 3, the drops for Equalizer Part 3 is still quite good. And I have to say, I believe it's due to the fact of lack of competition. Barbie, a 16% drop. This film is still dominating the box office, and what can I say at this point? It's the highest grossing film of the year. It's the first ever female director film to join the $1 billion club. It's the highest grossing female directed film, and so many more achievements for this film. And it's already at its 10th weekend, and it's still having so little drops. That's insane, by the way. So Warner Brothers, I think Warner Brothers is having a meltdown right now because of how badly Blue Beetle is doing. But at the same time, I think they are, popping out their champagnes and partying because of how well this film Barbie is doing. My Big Fat Greek Wedding Part 3. So according to Screen Rants, this film has to make about $57.5 million to make profit, and currently it's sitting at $29 million. So I doubt it will make the profit, because the weekends have been getting smaller and smaller. And that's the funny part of this film, is that nobody asked for Big Fat Greek Wedding Part 3, but still they made it anyways. And I can see why they made it, because the first film is a very profitable movie. That film made 75 times its budget, and the second film made 5.1 times its budget. So I can see why they will make a third film, but nobody is excited. It shows how Hollywood has changed over time, how the audience expectations for movies they want to watch in theatres have changed over time as well. Films like My Big Fat Greek Wedding Part 3 as well as A Haunting in Venice, people are more interested in watching them on streaming rather than in theatres. It lives inside. Like how I said earlier, lots of horror films are in theatres right now, and that creates some competition among horror films, and that's why I think this film is not doing that well. That's why I believe that Equalizer Part 3 is having smaller drops, because people who are not fans of horror have no choice but to watch Equalizer Part 3. That's why I think that film is doing really well and this film is not doing so well. Some money, it went from $220k to $2.5 million. I mean, this film only opened in 16 theaters if I'm not wrong at last weekend, but now it's at 616 theaters. That's a big jump, and let's see if that works out for the company. Number 9, Blue Beetle, a huge flop at the box office. And at number 10, how can I not talk about Oppenheimer if I'm going to talk about Barbie? I talked about Barbie earlier, now it's Oppenheimer. Barbie is at number 5 and Oppenheimer is at number 10. So they're having some great drops at the box office, and what can I say again? Highest grossing biopic film, second highest grossing R-rated film, highest grossing non-Batman Nolan film, and you know what's the funny part I discovered? Both Bohemian Rhapsody and this film are the highest grossing biopics of all time. And both have Rami Malek. I'm starting to think he's kind of favoured when it comes to biopic films because of the box office, how well they are doing. That was my review of the latest box office news. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to subscribe to my channel, and see you guys next time. You guys are always the best.